Welcome to the General Capabilities app tutorial. To enter the General Capabilities app, press on the GenCaps icon. The settings screen will appear as the default entry screen. You will see the names of students you already have files for if you have generated them in this column on the left. And over here are assessor details. So this is where you would enter your details as the teacher or the person entering the data into the General Capabilities app. Obviously your name goes here, the organisation, or you'd put your school name perhaps and your class in the organisation tab. You can enter a Dropbox link to save your files in or to export them to. And there are some interface options that adjust the appearance, and you may or may not want to activate those, and also a help tab there. When you're ready to start a new record for a student, you press on the plus button up here in the records column. This is where you enter your student name. The date that appears is automatically set to be the current date, and you can enter any notes against that student's record in the notes section. So we'll save that now, and you can see that Fred Bloggs' name has come up here in our records column on the left. On the right hand side, the student record has appeared with Fred Bloggs' name, the current date, and at the moment we haven't entered any data, and that's reflected here in the progress. So now that we've done that, we decide which general capability we want to assess Fred in. And let's assess Fred in the literacy capability. You can see that the general capability is listed with the elements and sub-elements underneath. And if you scroll with your finger from the bottom to the top of that screen, you'll scroll through the different organising elements and sub-elements in the literacy capability. And there are quite a few of them, but they're all there on display. So I'm going to scroll back up now and we'll start entering data for Fred. Within each sub-element you have obviously your levels, and the descriptors of those levels are in the columns underneath the level. And within that white part of the column here, if you move your finger from bottom to top, it will scroll through like so, and back down, and back down. So Fred is level 1B, and I'm going to enter that by tapping in this darker level 1B title section of that column, and it will indicate the selection by changing the colour to green. If I tap on the white section of the column, it won't select. It needs to be the top section. And if I made a mistake and entered 1B when it should have been 1C, if I tap on 1C, up at the top, it'll just automatically adjust for Fred. I don't have to enter against every one of those organising elements. There might be some specific focus areas for Fred that are the only things I really want to map out, or I can map against everything. So we'll choose a few indicators of where Fred is currently with his literacy. And maybe I want to look at text knowledge, and I've done that. But I don't want to look at grammar knowledge or word knowledge or spelling, but perhaps visual knowledge I'll select. So there we go. That's as much as I've decided I want to do for Fred in the literacy general capability. If I go back to the student records tab down the bottom, we'll see now that against literacy, we have 9 out of 16 sub-elements selected and completed with data against them. That's just a way in which you can, if you're choosing to do a full general capability, you can just double check that you've entered data against all the fields within that general capability. And perhaps we also want to have a look at the personal and social capability for Fred. So I'll tap on that now down here. And similarly, we can scroll through and see that it's all there in the app. And let's have a look at recognising emotions, and we'll select where Fred is at with some of these. And I'm going to actually map Fred against all of the personal and social capability. And there we go. All right, back to student records now, over here. And that's as much as I want to do for Fred, so I'm going to generate a report by pressing on the red button here. And it automatically creates a report for you. This format can be exported in a number of different ways, which we'll talk about in a moment. But let's just quickly have a look at what is there. Fred's name, the assessor's name, the date, and any notes that I entered into that very first part of the report are up at the start. And then if I scroll through, we'll see only the sub-elements that I've actually entered levels against reflected here, and we can get a bit of an overview of Fred's areas of challenge and areas of strength in literacy and in the personal and social capability. And I can scroll through, see all of those. Now, it starts off at the moment down here, you'll see that both is highlighted. So both means that I get a summary up the top and then a more expanded version that has some description of the level that I've indicated for Fred. And I can also choose, if I so desire, to have both the level that I've indicated Fred is at and the next level in the general capability displayed. So, again, the summary at the start, but if we come down here now, we can see that we've got the current level and the next level he's working towards indicated. I may or may not want to have both of those there, but that's there as an option down here. I'm going to go back and just have the level that Fred is at. And I might really just want a quick overview, so I only want the summary. I don't want the details. So it's quite customizable. And there you have a summary of the levels that Fred's at. Or, just to say it again, I could have a very complete report with both a summary at the start and then the current level, the level he's working towards, and I can actually, after I've exported it, enter further notes about Fred and where he is and perhaps what we might be looking to do to move him on to the next level, for example. So to export, if we come down to this section down here, I can either email the document, and if I press on that, here we go. It's there as a Word attachment, a .docx attachment, and I just email it as I would anything. And then I can obviously open it in any program that will open a .docx file, and I can edit it. I might want to put the school's logo at the top of the page and change the formatting slightly, and obviously that's very possible from this point. Let's cancel, however, and I'll just delete that draft. I might choose to export it to Dropbox, or I might choose to open the file in a Pages app or any app that will open a .docx file. So, that includes many options there. And the document can then be edited in any of those apps. So that's the General Capabilities app. I hope you find it useful.